Okay, so let's get started. And at the end, I'll give you an update on the Phuket property market as well, because I think it's important to understand some of the key sort of data points and big picture as to what's happening in the property market and the evolution of Phuket property market over the years. So just in terms of Thailand, a quick snapshot. So it's the second largest economy in Southeast Asia. So the ASEAN economic zone includes Thailand, and Thailand's the second largest. From a global perspective, we know the likes of China, the US, the Eurozone, and Japan are big economies, but ASEAN is the fifth largest globally. And I think, as I was saying to somebody earlier over lunch, even my father was saying to me maybe 45 years ago when I was still young, son, go to Asia because that's going to be the economic powerhouse of the world in the future. So I think he had a very good vision, because we can see how Asia has emerged to really become an economic powerhouse. So Thailand, like many countries in Asia, India, China and so forth, has very strong GDP growth. So it's quite sustainable, and it's it continues to grow. A population of 72 million. In Bangkok, the biggest city and the capital city, has about 11 million people. A lot of the population is distributed around the sort of provinces and in the rural areas. Oh, it's thunder. Oh, okay. And Phuket, the official population is about 500,000 people, but the reality is that it's more like 2 million, because a lot of the people that live here and work here, they're registered according to the census back in their home province and not Phuket. And obviously that population explodes during the peak of the tourist season, when we run at 100% occupancy across the island. And in terms of the number of tourists that Thailand gets, last year it was 35 million, just over 35 million. Number 8 worldwide in terms of, so it's in the top 10 in terms of countries for international tourists. And 40 million forecast in 2025. That's a forecast, but we've seen very strong rebound in growth since the pandemic. I think that's happening in a lot of places in the world. So Thailand has also seen that growth emerge since the pandemic. And just to put into perspective, because I think a lot of you probably flew directly into Phuket, and I'll show the connectivity of Phuket, which is very, very good, which sustains its popularity from a tourism perspective, but it's only 1 hour flight from Bangkok, Suvarnabhumi Airport. So it's very easily accessed either directly or via Bangkok, or even Singapore or Kuala Lumpur, because those three sort of other connecting points are only about an hour's flight away. So just to give you again a big picture idea, if you're talking about 4 to 6 hours flying time from Phuket, you've got approximately 45% of the world's population. We've got big population bases in China, India, which have populations of close to 1.5 billion each. So you've got this huge population base, and you can see within sort of 6 to 8 hours, you're getting close to 50 or a bit over 50% of the world's population. So the 8 hours includes the Middle East. So it really is a regional hub, and I think this is one of the advantages that the region has, is the proximity and the connectivity to a big population base worldwide. And as I said, the tourism industry here is very strong. And I don't have the updated numbers, but I think they would be probably even better. So this was the latest from 2023. The most visited cities in the world: Bangkok, number 1, Phuket, number 14, almost 10 million people. Phuket, so it has more than some of these other perhaps better known destinations, Bali, Mallorca and so forth. So it really is up there. And in terms of, let's say, beach or resort destinations, it's only second to Antalya, which is number 10 in Turkey. So you can see Thailand, that's why it's in the top 10 globally in terms of tourism, because it attracts a lot of people to both Bangkok and Phuket. So drilling down into Phuket, so obviously the majority of the GDP or the industry is based on tourism because there's lots of hotels, so probably about 50%, but the real estate sector is also growing. So it probably represents closer to maybe 10% of the GDP, and that's really sort of taken off, particularly in the last couple of years as Phuket has become a globally renowned destination. And we get 10 million visitors per year through the airport, and the airport is undergoing further expansion to increase its capacity. So I think now it's the second phase of expansion. It can accommodate probably about 18 million passenger movements per year. The next phase, when it's completed, will be up to 25 million passengers per year. So that will sort of really increase its capacity. Its main limitation is there's only a single runway. So in terms of flight movements in Phuket, they occur 24 hours and there's probably up to 300 flights a day. But that's their real capacity constraint. But they've announced plans to do another airport just north of Phuket, the Andaman Airport as well. So again, that'll increase the capacity of people that can visit the region. As I said, direct flights, this is a very important factor. So you don't have to come through Bangkok or Singapore. You can fly direct into Phuket from 80 cities worldwide. So that includes the likes of China, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong. Then when you get into the Middle East, there's very good connectivity. Dubai, Doha, Saudi Arabia now, right? So even the connectivity from Saudi Arabia, and which is more recent, is very good. From India also. So there's direct flights now from a number of Indian cities. And then further afield into Europe, from Frankfurt, in Western Europe. From Russia, there's lots of flights from the eastern part as well as the western part of Russia. So the eastern part of Russia, which is Vladivostok and so forth, are on the same time zone as Phuket. And a lot of people from that part of Russia visit Phuket as well, because it's much quicker to fly to Phuket than to Moscow or to Western Europe. So that's also very handy. In terms of the hotel supply, there's about 45,000 rooms in Phuket. That's over, I would say, the past 10 years has grown at a sort of a rate of 7 to 10%. That will continue to grow, but we've also seen quite rapid expansion in terms of the number of properties that are emerging, which are not hotels, condominiums, people buying for second homes and villas. And that comes onto the real estate demand. So really post-COVID, and I'll get into more details on the property market update, is we've really seen the real estate demand increase 4 to 5 times since COVID compared to prior to COVID. So it's not a huge market compared to the likes of Dubai, where the Dubai market might be 50,000 units a year, at least 10 times what Phuket is. So even though people talk about potential oversupply in Phuket, it's relatively small compared to other destinations. And a lot of the buyers, or most of the buyers, because they're foreigners, are cash buyers, right? So you don't have as much speculation where people are getting highly leveraged into the market. We're located on the west coast, here in Phuket, Bang Tao Beach. The airport's just north here. So this is the prime area. So in terms of tourism numbers, 20% of the 10 million tourists that come to Phuket stay in this region here, right? And in Laguna Phuket itself, 10%, and I'll show that data a little bit later. And again, about 50% of all the property or the real estate in Phuket is concentrated in this region as well. So Bang Tao, in the last couple of years in particular, has been really sort of put on the world map as being the most exclusive place and destination in Phuket, and that's why we've seen the demand for real estate really shoot up very, very high in the last couple of years. So what's Phuket famous for? All of these things you can see here. And I'm sure, hopefully, some of you over the next few days, if you haven't experienced already, will get to see. So beautiful beaches, beautiful nature and scenery and landscape. Shopping. So we've got world-class big shopping malls in Phuket town, Central Floresta and Central Festival. But in addition to that, there's lots of lifestyle and smaller malls, so just even out the front of Laguna and scattered around the island. Porto de Phuket, and then lots of market. So in Phuket town, there's a Sunday market. On a Friday night, just out the front in Boat Avenue, there's a Friday night market, and even we have one here in Laguna on a Saturday night where the local community come set up their vendor stalls or their souvenir and gift stalls, local handicrafts, and sell their wares, and the tourists really like to go down and enjoy that experience. Whoops. And then, of course, the entertainment. So I think I've spoken to a number of you, and you were all planning to go out last night. I don't know if you did, but a lot of people were talking about Patong and their experience in Patong. And so some people have had some good experiences in Patong, some people maybe not so good. But Patong doesn't represent Phuket either. And so I think there's a perception issue because of what many people see online. They think Phuket's like Patong. I'm sure with you staying here in Laguna Phuket, it's nothing like what you would experience in Patong. It's like a little oasis. So if you want some of the more edgy nightlife and things like that, yes, you can go and find it. But there's much more that Phuket has to offer than just the nightlife of Patong. So there's also a number of great shows and cultural shows such as Phuket Fantasy, which is about 10 or 15 minutes away from here, which has lots of gymnastics and elephants and local animals and a Thai cultural performance. There's a big water park, Andamanda, obviously Patong Walking Street, Bangla Road, and then other shows like Phuket Cabaret and Simon Cabaret. So there's more than just Patong. The other thing is we've got a year-round calendar of events, so there's always something happening in the destination. And we host a number of events here in Laguna Phuket, particularly in terms of sporting events. So we've got the Phuket Triathlon, which has been going for more than over 20 years. I think last year was our 21st year. That has professional athletes compete in it, but a lot of amateurs as well. I think we get up to several thousand people. The Phuket Marathon, which is also hosted by Laguna Phuket, we get close to 10,000 people attend that every year. So the triathlon is normally late November, early December. The marathon is around the middle part of the year in June or July when the weather's a bit cooler. Songkran Festival, which you just missed, it was just over a week ago. We had a mini Songkran last night, but probably not the same experience as a true Songkran festival. Loi Krathong, which is a cultural festival where you see all these beautiful lanterns being launched into the sky. So it really is when you see them all up in the sky. Very fantastic. The Vegetarian Festival, which is in October, is a very unique festival to Phuket, where you see some of the local people that believe in putting things through their bodies, piercing their bodies. And so it can be a little bit gory, but it's a very unique experience, not seen anywhere in the world. And even earlier this year, there's a number of music festivals and so forth. So in Laguna Phuket, we've hosted various rock concerts, symphony orchestras, and so forth. In January this year, this was a big international music festival called EDC, which they have those all around the world. This was the first one, and I think it's showing the demand for Phuket because I think they've signed up for the next several years to host that festival every year in Phuket. And of course, we've got golf courses, so for those that are in pursuit of a more sort of relaxed recreation option, golf is very popular here. So we've got our own golf course within Laguna Phuket where we also host professional tournaments. So I think we've got one coming up next month. But But there's a number of other nice courses on the island, so a lot of people come here for a golfing holiday and play several golf courses. And it's also known as the maritime jewel of Asia because there's lots of marinas. Boating is very popular here as well. So they're quite accessible from Laguna Phuket. They're mainly situated on the east coast, so you've got access to Phang Nga Bay, and there's some beautiful, big motorboats and yachts that you can charter to go out for the day or even a bit longer. I think this is another key point, which is healthcare and wellness. So there's a big medical tourism industry in Thailand. I think is worth about sort of $4 billion per year. So you get a lot of people come from overseas to get medical treatments or cosmetic treatments because it's much more affordable. The level of service is very, very good. But also emerging is the wellness industry. So I think yesterday you went and saw the BDMS Wellness Clinic. So this is another big, fast-growing industry, which is a multi-trillion-dollar industry worldwide. And again, I think with the Thai people and the affordability and the care that they give you, this is why in Asia Pacific as well, it's a very fast-growing industry. And again, part of our philosophy is to try and make Laguna Phuket self-contained, where you don't really have to go out. You can access a lot of these great services inside the resort precinct. And for those people that actually decide to move here, and there's an increasing number of people that have moved here, particularly when they were repeat tourists. They came, then they decided to buy a home. So a lot of the Russians, they've actually relocated their families here. They send their children to school to get them an international education at an international school. So there's a lot of international schools also available here. And we've got arrangements with a number of those international schools where you get preferred placement and also discount on the enrolment fees through the special arrangements we have with those schools in our Laguna Advantage program, which I can touch on later on. So the central west coast of Phuket, where we're located, which is Bang Tao Bay here, which is 5 kilometres across, we occupy 60% or 3 kilometres of that whole bay. And this is the most exclusive area in Phuket. So this just gives an outline of, I guess, our borders. So you can see we occupy about 60%, but we also extend back quite some length. So the total size of Laguna Phuket is about 4.5 million square metres or 4.5 square kilometres. So it's like a community or a township in its own. And we've only, or when I say we've only developed, we still have about 1/3 of the land that we have yet to develop. But at the same time, we've preserved a lot of spaces to be open spaces and natural areas which the community can still enjoy. So it doesn't have a feeling of being sort of claustrophobic or clustered because there's still a lot of open space with the lagoons, the golf course, and even some of the forested areas which we seek to maintain as part of our sustainability initiative. So some key data points, and I think I mentioned earlier. So we get 1 million visitors out of the 10 million that come to Phuket. So we capture 10% of that. So no other complex can do that. Here we've got about 1,500 hotel rooms across the various resorts, and we've got 3,000 residences. So Laguna Phuket version 1.0, it started out as a resort community, but now it's really become a community on its own because we've got a lot of residences, gated communities here where people are living here on a permanent basis. And so it really is version 2.0 as a community. And that's why with one of the projects that we recently launched, Laguna Lakelands, which is our biggest site and is going to be our biggest project to date, that is going to be really a master planned community with all the benefits and access of being part of Laguna, but it'll also be very much self-contained with a lot of amenities and facilities there as well. So most people, and I think a lot of you, when talking to you, are aware of Banyan Tree as a hotel and hospitality brand, but maybe not aware of the size of our real estate business. So we've effectively got the hotel business and the real estate business. So just to put into perspective, the hotels we've got here, their value would be probably close to $500 million. From our real estate perspective, we've developed over $1 billion in the past. Presently, we've got, in the last sort of 2 years, we've been launching $500 million worth of real estate for sale, new launches every year. And the future development value is in excess of $5 billion. And the Lakelands project alone would be in excess of $2 billion. So just to put that into perspective, the future value of the real estate side of the business, the potential of that is very, very significant. So a little about Banyan Group, just to try and put some context and perspective. So obviously, we're very well known for developing and operating premium hotels and resorts around the world. So this year we'll hit 100. So I think presently we've got about 95. So we'll have 100 resorts worldwide. And obviously we've got the spas and the retail galleries and golf courses in the integrated resorts in Phuket, Bintan, Indonesia, Langkawi in Vietnam. But on the real estate side, we've already developed and franchised 5,000 properties, which also includes about 3,000 here in Laguna Phuket, and there's about another 9,000 currently in the pipeline. So, that's the second, core business that we have, which a lot of people probably don't really understand. We've got a global footprint in over 20 countries. We're listed on the stock exchange in Thailand, and our parent company, Banyan Tree Holdings, is listed on the stock exchange in Singapore. So that's also a very important factor for when we're selling residences, because we've been established for close to 40 years and we're publicly listed, so our reputation is very important to us. So I'll just play a short video now. I'm not sure if you saw this. This is on the Banyan Group. Did they see this morning, or? Yes. They did? Okay. All right. I think it's only 1 minute. So we'll play it again, because I think it really captures the essence of what we're about, and particularly the sustainability and our ethos and our values are very unique.
When we began our journey on our first land, we didn't just build a resort. We rebuilt an entire ecosystem. Since then, our mission has not been to change the world, but to cultivate it. Because we don't need a better world. We need a better way of living within it. That's why we're in the business of discovery. Discovering a better way of life through the power of travel since 1994. Now, after 30 years of pioneering sustainable hospitality, while remaining rooted in our Asian origins, we are reintroducing ourselves as Banyan Group. Our expansive perspective encompasses the design, development, and delivery of experiences that expand the scope of our world, including a family of globally renowned brands that redefine how well the world travels. Laguna, Banyan Tree Vea, Banyan Tree Escape, Angsana Heritage Collection, Garya, Kasya, Dawa, Home, Folio, Sky Park. Today, we continue to leverage travel as a force for positive change, as a map to the infinite possibilities within, a passport to discovery, and a platform to cultivate our shared future. Together, we're showing the world the Banyan Way, a whole new way of discovering life that profits the planet and invests in our collective humanity to grow a better future for all.
So you can see from that, we're now a multi-branded hospitality group. So I think we've got 12 brands, and we've been going through the alphabet. So even though we started with Banyan Tree, the next was Angsana. And then ever since then, we just go on a a linear basis. So Cassia was the next, then Dawa was after that. So after we run out of the alphabet, maybe we'll have to start with something else. Most of them are trees or plants. So Angsana is a plant, banyan tree is a banyan tree. So the one outside the lobby, it's a big, the roots. So most of them are named after plants. So in terms of our global portfolio, this was at the end of last year. So I think we're now at 95. And then you can see the sort of the mix and the spread. So obviously we started out in Asia where our roots are. So we've got a very strong presence in Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, China, and more recently Japan. So we've got several properties in Japan and in the Indian Ocean. And now our focus is sort of going towards the West, so the Middle East and Europe. And we've also got a presence in the Americas. So we're really establishing a global footprint now. So as I said, we'll hit over 100 within this year. And that's just on the resorts. On the real estate side, as I mentioned, we've already got 5,000, so 3,000 here, another 9,000 in the pipeline. In terms of brands, it's again, it's a mix. So Banyan Tree is one of the big ones in terms of units, but Cassia and Sky Park are also growing very, very well. And throughout Asia, we've got a good spread, and then we're growing the rest of the world where we don't have as many at the moment, but we've got business development people now in the Middle East, and that's one of the areas that will continue to grow, I think, and Europe as well as the Americas. In terms of the branded residences space, we're actually number 5 globally. So if you look at those above us, they're the big multinational players. So I think we really do very well, given we're really just a small independent hospitality brand, but we're in the top 10 and actually number 5 behind these guys. Asia Pacific, along with the Middle East, are the two big sort of growth markets for branded residences. So we see a lot of growth, obviously, in the Middle East, but Thailand and Asia Pacific. Phuket is actually number 4. So the top branded residence destinations, I think you've got Dubai would be the first, Miami in the US, New York. Number 4 is Phuket in Thailand. So again, that puts into perspective how significant Phuket is in that sort of whole branded residences space as well. So a bit about our business on our real estate side. So we're actually a developer ourselves. So we're not just like other brands where they just provide the branding under license. We actually are a developer, so we know what it takes. So we do our own developments, condominiums, villas. We have also private residences as well as hotel residences. Property services, so pre-completion, we've got our own sales and marketing capabilities, our own project management capabilities, and very importantly, which I'll touch on a bit later, is post-completion, which are all the after-sales services and the owner benefits that we bring to bear to our real estate offerings. And something that's really emerged more recently as well, we've seen a big demand for private residences, which are not properties that are managed as part of the hotel. So lots of people buying them as second homes, but they want to utilise them, but also defray some of their costs by renting them out when they're not using. So we established Banyan Living to take care of that on the private residences side. So just to explain a little bit of the difference between what we call a private residence and a hotel residence. So a hotel residence, sometimes we sell real estate within the resort or the hotel itself. So Banyan Tree Phuket, I think, has got about 220 villas. We've sold about 50 or 60 of those to third-party external buyers, but they are managed as part of the hotel inventory. So the owners of those properties get complimentary usage of the property throughout the year, but they also receive a rental return, but everything is taken care of by the hotel. With private residences, those are some of the properties you would have seen today, Angsana Ocean View, which is just outside of the actual Angsana Hotel. So those are properties that they're not managed as part of the hotel, but we provide after-sales services in terms of managing the the common areas, the estate management, individual property services, and it's a bit more flexibility for some owners who, I'll give you an example. A lot of Russian buyers like to come here during the European winter, which is December, January and February, and so they'd like to spend 3 months here. So if they owned a hotel residence, which is a time in which you can make most of your return because the rates are premium, they're not so much interested in the return. They want to actually have the lifestyle benefit of staying here. So that's what a private residence is. It offers more flexibility. You can use it as your primary home or have it as a second home. So I'll just play a short video now on our after sales services and the Sanctuary Club, and then I'll explain a bit more detail about later on. So this is a very important point for us, because when we sell a property to you, that's the beginning of our relationship. It's not the end of the relationship like many other developers. They sell the property, they hand over the property to you, and that's it. For us, it's just the beginning. And actually, when we hand over the property to you, that's really the start of our relationship, because we want to be with you throughout the lifetime that you're enjoying your property.
Imagine owning your own piece of paradise. It's the ultimate dream for many. At Laguna Phuket, we're here to transform that dream into your reality. From matching you with the perfect home, to guiding you through the buying process and assisting with day-to-day ownership. Once you join the Laguna family, we are here for you every step of the way. Our one-stop after-sales service program has been designed to cover all your ownership needs, as well as provide you with an unrivaled suite of additional services and privileges, from property and estate management to exploring the vast opportunities within the Sanctuary Club. With our suite of services ranging from pest control to cleaning and gardening, you can be sure that your home is always in prime condition. We are committed to ensuring that every aspect of the natural environment is maintained to the highest possible standards. With our optional rental program, you can sit back and rest assured that your home is in safe hands as it earns you passive income. The Sanctuary Club, our exclusive owners program, opens the door to the luxurious world of the Banyan Group. Membership comes automatically when you join the Laguna family, granting you a host of exclusive privileges and discounts. With the Banyan Group's global network at your fingertips, you can explore diverse destinations and immerse yourself in authentic experiences. From breathtaking cityscapes to serene tea plantations, from mountains and deserts to the world's greatest beaches, our award-winning sanctuaries await your discovery. Members of our exchange program can convert part of their annual usage entitlement for a complimentary stay at participating Banyan Group properties. Owning a piece of Laguna Phuket opens the door to a world of opportunities and privileges. Whether you seek a complete lifestyle or a secure and hassle-free investment, we are here to assist you. So join our family and embark on a life of limitless opportunities.
Okay, so the two main things from there, I guess the two key takeaways is the after-sales services. So what we strive to do is offer a complete range of after-sales services, not only taking care of the common areas or the estate management, but individual property services as well. So it becomes a hassle-free ownership, and then it's a one-stop shop because you have a single point of contact. You don't have to go and arrange with all the various service providers. We do all of that for you. Another important feature which we introduced recently called our Laguna Advantage program is for every new buyer, we offer 1 year of complimentary services. So you don't have to, you've already got that straight from the beginning. And so your transition from when you first take over the property, those services will already be in place. The second part is called the Sanctuary Club, which is really our owner benefits program. So most hospitality groups have a frequent guest or loyalty program for their hotel guests. We have a program for our property owners or our real estate owners called the Sanctuary Club. And I guess the main advantage of this is it doesn't matter which brand you buy under, any of our properties, you get worldwide discounts through all of our service offerings, whether it be rooms accommodation, spa, F&B, golf, etc. So that access is worldwide throughout all of our resorts and services worldwide. So that's the Sanctuary Club. Now you saw a bit in there about the exchange program. This relates to the people that own a hotel residence. So if you own a property in, say, Banyan Tree, Phuket, a hotel residence, you get 60 days annual owner's use entitlement per year. So you can put 15 days out of those 60 days into the exchange program, so that then enables you to go and stay in other properties at zero cost, because what we do is the other participating owners, then they just redeem their annual owners usage nights that they contribute to the program, so 15 each, and they no, because you own the property, right? So if it's not timeshare where you own a right of use and you own so many days. You actually own the physical real estate with an entitlement to use 60 days per year or 30 days per year. So all it means is if you want to come and stay here for all of your 60 days and the rest of the time you receive your rental. So timeshare, you don't receive rental returns because you don't own the real estate. It's just offering an added benefit where if you don't want to spend all your time in your property here, you've got the choice to go and stay in some other properties that from the other participating owners, but there's no cost involved in terms of the actual accommodation component. So again, just to recap, with the Sanctuary Club, the key benefits are the worldwide discounts, right, across all of those service offerings, and some other privileges. An interesting one here, which is what we call our experiential guest program. So whenever we open a new resort, 1 month prior to the official or the public opening of that new resort, we invite our property owners to go and stay free of charge for a couple of nights. It's almost like a stress test and a pre-trial stay to make sure we iron out all the problems in the property before it officially opens. So obviously you have to pay your way there, but when you're there, you get the accommodation for free. So that's another unique point. Because we've got such a diverse range of owners, we've got multilingual capabilities in our after-sales service team as well. The exchange program, which is what I just explained. And then other benefits such as when we launch new projects, before going out for a public launch, we will launch to our owners first to give them first choice, so they can choose the best units and so forth. So another key statistic, about 15 to 20% of our sales are to existing owners who are repeat buyers. So I think that's also a testimony to the fact that we get a lot of repeat business, not only on the hotel side, but even on the real estate side. Oh, sorry, the other one is when you're an existing owner, obviously we don't have the cost of acquisition of finding you, so we give you a discount, so 5% discount on any subsequent purchase. So again, this is just the discount you receive through the Sanctuary Club. So Banyan Living, which is new, and I guess this is our version of Airbnb, but we do it at a Banyan Group perspective, and it's the rental solution for all of the private residences, those that are not managed as part of the hotel inventory. So unlike Airbnb, where you look on the website, you choose, and it may look nice, but when you get there, it maybe not live up to your expectations, or the service isn't there. What we can provide is, just like Airbnb, worldwide distribution, right, through a dedicated website and integration with online travel agents and so forth. but more importantly, brand assurance, right? So all of the properties that are participating in Banyan Living, they've got to meet our brand standards to participate. So we wouldn't rent out the property if it didn't meet those brand standards. So I think that's a very important point. Obviously, from the owner's perspective, just like our experience in hospitality where we do dynamic revenue management to maximise rates during high demand periods, we do the same with Banyan Living as well. And this also is a good offering for extended stay rentals. So maybe particularly some people travel as a multi-generational family. They want to stay in a larger property, in a villa, as opposed to a hotel room. This is where Banyan Living is a perfect solution for them because they can self-cater. They can also stay for a longer period. And we've got a range of property types and sizes from condominiums, 1 bedroom to 3, 4-bedroom condominiums, all the way up to luxury 5-bedroom villas. And again, just like our after-sales service, multilingual operations team, and it's free. So you don't have to pay anything to enrol in the program, it's free. So our owners by country of residence, we've got a diverse range of owners. So we've got about 4,000 owners across our portfolio, but you can see they're from across 80 countries. So about 60% from Asia, 35% from Europe, and to a lesser extent the rest of the world. So it's a very diverse mix, and I think even when you're in Phuket, you'll see a diverse mix of people, and I think that really adds to the sense of community that we have here in Laguna Phuket. And as we've got 2 of our channel managers here from the Middle East. So one of the important aspects of our strategy, and we started to do this before actually COVID, was we wanted to source prospective buyers in their home countries, not wait until they came to visit us, because a lot of the time when people come to visit, they don't know what they want, or they might go through an agent and so forth. So, but also very important for us is if we have representation in our key source markets, we have somebody who's from that local country, so the rapport and the cultural understanding is much better than somebody coming in here and dealing with a stranger or a foreigner. So this is also a very important part of our strategy. We've got people in China, Russia, Kazakhstan, India, obviously Thailand, Hong Kong, Taiwan, more recently in the UAE and Saudi Arabia. So just this year, I think, in Saudi, or maybe towards the end of last year, but certainly less than 12 months. So we see the Middle East region as an area of growth, just like we see the Indian market as an area of growth and good potential. And it's very important as part of our strategy to diversify the markets that we have, so we're not concentrated on any single market. And we do a lot of regular events in a number of those countries to drive sales. So we do about 200 events per year. So you'll start to see more in the Middle East, but in China we do well over 100 events. That's where we've got our biggest number of sales managers. And in Russia as well, we do a lot of events. So getting more onto the broader picture in terms of the real estate, not specifically Laguna Phuket now, what are the key factors and reasons for people buying? I think you'll probably all be sort of familiar with a number of these. So number one is accessibility. As I mentioned earlier, 80 cities fly direct into Phuket, so it's very accessible. Geopolitics is also a big factor. So we've seen recently with the conflict in Russia-Ukraine, we've seen a real boom in the number of Russian buyers. So is Dubai, right? And that's because we welcome those people. We didn't turn them away and say we don't want them. So I think that's one of the enduring or endearing features of Thailand, the hospitality. And I think that's going to work out very well for us, even if that conflict ends and they lift all the sanctions, because I think a lot of people, or the Russian buyers, would have lost trust with a lot of those markets who didn't want them during this period. And we've benefited from that. Post-pandemic, urban flight was another one. So having a safe haven, even if it's a second home, if things get locked down, we saw a number of big cities get locked down during the pandemic, and you're stuck and you're locked inside and you can't go out. Phuket we were all relatively free. We weren't locked down, we weren't locked up. We were still going out for dinner. The restaurants might have closed a bit earlier, but we still have freedom. And I think that's very important. The cost of living here also is much more affordable, whether it be sort of healthcare or just generally buying a car and property, as I'll show you later. It's relatively affordable compared to a lot of other places. More recently as well, with remote working, a lot of people can do, if they've got their business or the digital nomads, you can do a lot of stuff from home now. The internet connectivity is also very good here, and it's cheap. So even at my house, I pay, I think, $25 US a month, if that, 1,000 megabyte per second speed. If I compare that to my place in Australia, where I pay about 50, double the amount, and the speed is not even 1/3 of that. The internet speed here is very, very good. And another big one, lifestyle and well-being, which I think many, many more people are starting to sort of see the benefits of, living a sort of an active, healthy lifestyle, and Phuket can offer a lot of those things. So as I said earlier, the Phuket real estate market post-COVID has grown about 5 times in terms of the annual demand. What's driven that up has been Bangtao in particular. The land prices in the last couple of years have exploded because of developers coming in and buying up the land. And of course that has an impact then on the selling price because the cost of development is higher. But the selling prices in the last 2 years would have gone up about 40%. So the appreciation on an annualised basis is about 20%. But we all know that that's not sustainable forever. That's really just a short-term thing. But over the long term, and I've been here 24 years, on average, it's gone up about 10% per annum. So 15 years ago, prices have gone up in excess of 150%. So if you look at the long-term average, the capital appreciation has been quite solid as well. The majority of the market are condos and less so villas. That's driven by, I guess, the high cost of land now, because when the land cost is high, you've got to get a bit more density out of the land to make the project feasible. So that's where it stands at the moment. But as I was saying to some of you last night, there are rules and regulations here in Phuket, environmental regulations and building regulations where, building heights are limited, and so it still controls the density. All the projects have to go through an environmental impact assessment. So I think, a lot of people have a misconception that, these rules and regulations don't exist, and so they are well controlled, and you're not going to see any skyscrapers or anything here in Phuket because the community is also interested in preserving and sustaining their community and the environment. I think the other thing we've seen is the luxury segment re-emerging, particularly post-COVID. So prior to COVID, we were seeing the emergence, I guess, of the middle class in China and so forth, where they were looking for sort of relatively affordable properties. Now, and so prior to COVID, we would say maybe one third of our properties we were selling were luxury, upscale, and 2/3 sort of mid-scale, affordable. Now it's about 50-50. So we're seeing a big demand for luxury properties again now, and we've launched a number of luxury products over the last 2 years. And as I said, the West Coast Central here, this accounts for about 50% of the real estate market because it seems the most exclusive area for the beaches, the accessibility, and the amenities that it contains compared to a lot of the other areas. So just to put some context around this as well in terms of affordability, and this is interesting, it's what $1 million buys you of prime real estate around the world. So the left hand are city locations, so you can see Monaco, for $1 million you get 16 square meters. So literally a shoebox, you don't get much. Dubai is down here, so it's relatively good value for money. $1 million you get maybe on average, close to 100 square meters. But these are in city locations. Second home locations, Aspen in the US, a famous ski destination, a bit like Monaco. Phuket, So if I compare Phuket to, say, Dubai, for the same money, I get more bang for my buck. I get double the size, right? So Phuket, on a global basis, is still very affordable, and I think that's also driven apart from all the amenities and the hospitality, it's driven a lot of the interest in Phuket because of the relative affordability. And even if I look at Dubai, the premium properties there start from about 30,000 plus per square metre. Here, you can get the same for half the price, right? Okay, last but not least, and then we can go into Q&A, so you'll be sick and tired of my voice. I'll just play you a few things on our portfolio. So again, this is the portfolio we presently have for sale, and so we're rolling out, probably about sort of 10 projects per year at about $500 million per year at this stage. And so it's a real struggle to keep up. We're designing as fast as we can. We've already identified all of the parcels of land that we've got to release, and then we've obviously got to get them ready for launch. So I'll just play a video on our current portfolio of properties we have for sale. This is a new beach club that will be open in a few months' time. So again, we're constantly adding to the amenities and facilities in the precinct. Okay, so that'll give me a bit of a breather and a bit of a rest.
Not for long.
Not for long.